to yin and self-myofascial release. The sequence that we'll do for this video will focus on releasing our glutes, low back, and a little bit into our spinal column. Definitely have some form of massage tool, whether it's a small spike massage ball or a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball, something that can provide some pressure into your own body in a safe and mindful way. Having a couple blocks of some kind that can help support your joints, especially if you have any injuries or things that could be potentially adding too much pressure on your fascia and your connective tissue. Have something like a pillow or a block to prop yourself up with. A chip foam block or something like a pillow, again, could be used, or a little blanket if you need to pad your knee or have a rest for the head. And then I recommend a bolster. If you do have a bolster, it would be lovely for supporting the knees, the spine, knee limon, etc. For the majority of this practice, we'll be laying on our back. But for our first position, we'll come into a seated butterfly so we can find some flexion, some rounding into the spine. So you'll sit on a chip foam block or a pillow, or just your own seat is fine as well. Bring the soles of your feet together and your knees wide. And then take your hands around the fronts of your feet. You can scoot your sit bones further back behind you if you like. And then as you inhale, lift up to the crown of your head. As you exhale, start to round your spine. So we want to relax the spinal column here to find more space between the vertebrae. And then if you have blocks or something similar to blocks that put beneath your knees, I highly recommend putting them beneath them. So this way you have some support so your knees don't fall all the way up to the ground. From there, you can take your hands on your feet once again and lift up again. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, without forcing your way all the way down, just go to a point where you can find an initial point of sensation. So in the practice of Yin Yoga, we're not trying to force our way into anything. And that goes for all practices of yoga and movement. But especially ones where we are dealing with deep connective tissues in the body that potentially, if brought too far into a place of depth, and especially too fast, we risk injury and prolonged concern for stability through the entire being. And so we need to hold these slower held postures for at least a few minutes, if not ideally longer, to provide our fascia, our connective tissues, the tendons, ligaments, the bones, and the joints some space to open, to release. Take an inhale here. And sigh out your mouth. Inhale. And exhale. Continue noticing the sensations as they develop in the body, so you can be very much in tune with what you need in every moment as things continue to shift and adapt. Breathing in again. And breathing out. If you don't have any injuries in the neck or the head, you may feel comfortable letting the head go heavy. If you find your forehead needs additional support, you can stack your forehead on top of your fists. If you don't have any additional supports and props, use your fists to support your forehead. With inhale here. Exhale. For those who might be more comfortable with their yin practices, you may find that you can go a little bit more into your forward fold, but only as long as your body says it's okay. And your body will tell you if it's not. Inhale one more time. And let it go. Last few moments here. Engage your belly a little bit, press down to your sitting bones, and walk your hands back little bits at a time to help gradually lift up through your spine. Walking your hands now up your legs, breathe in to come out. And exhale. And just pause here, observing your spine. Walk your hands behind you a little bit and begin to find just a gentle back bend. So soft, very, very subtle, but just enough to counter from the flexion you just took. That rounded shape, you want to lift up and find more of an extension. And carefully round yourself forward. Shift your body weight onto your sitting bones and take your chip foam block off to the side. Have your foam blocks on either edge. From there, you can come onto your forearms one at a time and then start to roll back onto your spine, like so. Good. From there, go ahead and begin to let your knees and your legs windshield wiper just a little bit from side to side. Nothing super crazy, just a little bit. Now from here, you can find one of your foam blocks, bring your feet to stillness and your knees to face up to the ceiling. Lengthen your tailbone forward and lift your hips up enough to place that block flat and wide on its lowest setting beneath your sacrum. Okay, so just above the tailbone, making sure that when your lower back comes down on that block, it feels nice and solid. Once you find your sweet spot where it doesn't feel like it's poking, it's not in any pain, but you can just arrive, keep your feet where they are. Your knees might come in together if it feels comfortable, or the knees can stay neutral facing up to the ceiling. From there, let your arms come out into a T shape just so the shoulders can be a bit heavier to the ground. The palms face up or down, your choice. Coming into supported bridge. If you have an eye cover of any kind, you're welcome to place the eye cover over top of your forehead to block out any surrounding light or stimulation. Once you arrive here, visualize the space that your block is underneath and breathe into your block. As you exhale, let the block sink a little bit deeper into your low back. Breathe in. breathe out. Notice the changes or any subtle shifts in your body, in the nervous system, your state of mind, the shift of sensation in the flow of energy and prana in the body. Take one more breath here. Big sigh through the mouth. Bring your knees towards your chest. And extend your legs up to the ceiling for Viparita Karani. Coming into legs to sky. Letting all the energy from the feet start to pool down the legs, down through the hips, into the torso, up to the heart. And always bend your knees any amount. If it's too much with them fully extended, just bend your knees more and take a little bit of that line out. That's totally okay. Or just keep your feet on the ground in supported bridge while you're here. one more breath here. And sigh out. Softly bend the knees, gradually let the legs drape down this imaginary wall. Until you can let the heels come toward the backs of the legs, feeling all the sensations that arrive from that descent from your legs being straight, and just pause as you notice. We'll stay on the block for one more variation, coming into thread the needle with the hips lifted. Cross the outer edge of the right foot on top of the left thigh above the knee. Now your left foot can just stay bent and chilled out, that's fine. You can also let the left knee and shin and right ankle all be, I don't like to say stacked, but helping themselves be supported as something to rebound back into. And then you can let your arms rest as you like, or you might start to take a couple options. One option can be to take your right hand on your right knee and just very, very softly encourage the right knee a bit more forward. Another option can be to interlace your hands around the back of your left hamstring below your knee. Or another option can be to interlace your hands around the front of your shin below your knee. And then you can start to engage the hands a little bit and let the hands pull the left thigh more towards you as that right knee opens up just a touch more. So whatever works for you is what is most important. Now start to swirl your breath in and around the right hip. One more breath here with your right foot over your left thigh. Exhale all the breath out the mouth. Carefully release, switching sides. You can always place your feet on the mat for some pause, or reach your legs back up to the ceiling if you would like that instead. Otherwise, cross the left foot over on top of the right. Breathe in. And breathe out. Treating both sides differently. Seeing if there is anything you may need to change or to adapt to make the left side feel in the same way as the right. And this may mean the same as your first side. Take a few more breaths here. Very carefully release your left leg from your right leg. Keep your knees over your hips and just take a moment to let the legs settle. And now from here, let your knees bend out to the side. Walk your hands slowly up your shins to your ankles. Flex both of your heels as you bring your heels up to the ceiling. And slide your hands more down your legs as you push your heels up, finding a brief, happy baby position. Bend both of your knees, bring your heels more in towards your bum. Take your hands outside your knees now as the knees come in closer together. Place one foot at a time, feeling each set of toes coming down, and then the heel. And then the other leg. Lift your hips off your block. Carefully imprint one vertebra at a time back to the floor. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 4, 1. Just take a moment to pause and to integrate. your belly, into your low back. Now from here, locate your spiky ball or your tool, your massage prop. Shift your weight to your left hip and lift the right hip and sit bone off the ground. And then place your ball around the fleshy part of your right hip, right glute. So you're not anywhere near the sitting bone or the low back or the hip bone, but you're applying a bit of pressure of the ball into the glute region, the gluteus muscles. And then you can start to find a certain pressure point that you can sink into and let the ball do the work as you breathe into your nose and breathe around the pressure that is being felt into the glute. Inhale. Exhale through the mouth, nice and soft. Inhale. And exhale. Find another area on that region that you can find new sensation with. The right knee can open up to the side as much as you need, just letting that passive sensation increase. And inhale again. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Go ahead and find a third spot in that region that you haven't discovered yet. And then come back, the right knee can wing open to the right again, and you can breathe in and around that. Now from here, cross your right foot over your left thigh as you would for thread the needle, and start to just maneuver and roll that ball gently and mindfully around your glute region, and seeing if there are any additional little pockets, areas, sensations that you want to roll around. Just breathing more into those areas as they come up. And once you have rolled around that general vicinity, that surface area, you can start to place your right foot down, take your ball away, take your feet together and your knees wide. Just start to notice and scan the right side to the left side and see if there's any even subtle shifts in how your hip and your glute might feel. take your feet down to the ground. Shift your weight over to the right, lifting your left sit bone off the ground. Then apply the pressure of your left glute on top of your massage prop. Find initially a point of interest that you can set into statically and breathe around that point and feel the ball, your massage tool, help you to bring more space around the inhale. And then the exhale helps sink the prop a little bit further into the tissue. Finding a second point of interest in that left side. Once you find it, leaning just a little bit more into it as you breathe. Finding a third point, somewhere that you haven't explored yet, that feels like it's saying to you it needs a little bit more TLC. Leaning your body into that. And then breathing deeply. Breath into that third spot. And then cross the left foot over the right thigh and just start to roll around your tool very softly, just exploring any additional points that you might want to lean into and be still, or moving dynamically and a little bit more actively around, just skimming across that surface. Start to release the ball, your tool off to the side, come back onto your full spine, bring your feet together, your knees wide into a breathe reclined butterfly, and just see if your right and your left leg and hip, glute, feel a little bit more balanced, a little bit more evened out. Begin to extend your legs out in front of you. Walk your legs just a little bit to start with to the left, and pick up your right ankle and cross your right ankle over your left ankle. Scoot your feet a little bit more to the left, but be careful not to let the hips come unstable. So if you notice you shift all the way to the left and your right sit bone, right hip come off the mat, you've gone a little bit too far. So find that sweet spot where you still have your full low back, pelvis on the ground, and sit bones, but you see a little bit of traction of the left foot pulling on the right foot to the left, and then from the outer right hip down through the calf, shin, maybe even all the way out through to the outer edge of your right foot. You might start to come into banana pose. So getting into a nice lengthening through the outer side of the right hip and thigh, the IT band, the iliotibial band, where the ilium, the waist bone, and the tibia on top of one of the main shin bones. And start to breathe in. Nice in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale. And exhale. Just be here for one more minute. Not a super long hold here on banana pose for this practice. One more breath here. Release your right leg from your left leg and take a brief shavasana. Just a few breaths to let the hips and the legs relax. And then very mindfully, take the left ankle over the right ankle. Let your legs come a little bit more to the right. And again, just finding that subtle sensation, not pulling super tough or super hard, as you start to find that lengthening across the left hip and thigh for banana on the left side. Inhale. And exhale. one more minute here on the left side. Last breath here. Nice deep sigh. And release the left leg off the right leg. Legs come out. Just pause there. Notice the effects in the body, the mind, the energy moving through you. And go ahead and bring your feet flat on the ground. Let your knees come into touch and begin to windshield wiper your knees to either side a few times. And let your knees fall over to the left, and they won't be here for more than a few breaths. Just a little bit of breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Once more. Back to center and over to the right for a few breaths. Inhale, come back to center. Hug your right knee in and your left knee into your chest. Breathe in, one little hug and squeeze. We're going to set up for Shavasana. So if you do have a bolster, I recommend taking the bolster underneath the thighs and sending the legs out long. Checking in with your hips and your pelvis and seeing if they need to shift or do anything before they rest into stillness. If you would like to add a chip foam block for a support for the head and the neck, you can, but that is completely optional. And just begin to let your shoulders come down your back, your palms face up down by your sides. And settling in here. start to notice your body. The beat of your heart. The sensations in your fingers and your toes. And then going up the limbs and the joints, into the hips and the torso, the neck and the head. And breathing into your whole body. And 2 more of those full body breaths. One more time. Begin to roll your wrists and your ankles in both directions, pointing and flexing through the hands, fingers, the feet and the toes. Bending one knee and the other knee, bringing your feet to the ground and hug the knees softly in toward your chest. If you have an eye cover, removing the eye cover off to the side, and rolling over to your left hip into momentary fetal position. Place your palm down to the floor to come up to your seat, and you can sit up on your bolster or block. Any kind of cushion will be more than okay. And then resting your hands down, palms face down to ground your body, rolling the shoulders back over the hips, and lengthen up to the crown of your head. Knee and heart center. Always remembering to thank yourself, to not take your health and your well-being for granted. That each practice is a gift. And every breath matters. Inhale. Thank you so much for practicing. Namaste.